Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nashville Speedway for round number 4 of the Next Level Gaming Community ARCA series right here on the iCast Racing Network, powered by iRacing. I am Mike Taylor up here in the booth. We are excited to have you guys here with us today, as we currently have 8 competitors ready to take on this fast, massive, long, sweeping race here at Nashville Speedway. This 1.33 mile concrete oval challenges our drivers with tire wear, tricky corners, and high speed racing that rewards balance, patience, and smart track management. We are expecting side by side battles with late race strategy, and that will hopefully decide who will win here today and the Next Level Gaming Community ARCA series. Ladies and gentlemen, let's head on down track side as we get ready for qualifying here, as Richard Walls is already having a little bit of issues here. He has quickly able to go ahead and shake it off here as these drivers start marching their way around this beautiful speedway. He got a little bit loose there, trying to get a little too much out of it. So he's got to be a little bit careful there. He doesn't want to give it too much gas and let it jump sideways the way it did. And out of turn 4 down to the start finish line. That will end his qualifying attempt. I'll have your standings and stuff up here for you in just one quick moment here, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. Alright, that should do it there. Alrighty, as you see right there, ladies and gentlemen, so far only a couple drivers 5 out of the 8 drivers have posted times. Uh, Scott Milner is out on track in that number 31 U.S. Army Chevrolet as he comes down this back straightaway. And with that lap, it will put him up there in second with a 30.27. Joe Usnickus, he is out here on track in that number 89 Ford Mustang in that Monster Juice. Beautiful Mustang, actually. As he takes the green flag to begin his first of 2 laps here. Let's go ahead and ride on board with him here. Kind of show you guys what it is like around this 1 mile speedway. That is how quick it is around this 1 mile speedway. That last time was a 30.201 for Joe Usnickus as he's coming around out of turn number 4, looking to better his lap time as he hits the apron, and that will put him on the pole with a 29.997. Really good run there for Joe Usnickus. Joe Usnickus, he really does need a good run today as he's had a little bit of trouble the last couple of weeks. Albert. Yep. So we have Albert Reinhardt here ripping away in his number 25 Red Bull Toyota. He's getting ready to put down his first lap. Alright, and that will put him third with a 30.201. And that will do it here for qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. As we have just, unless if they advance it, we have just about 2 minutes remaining here, ladies and gentlemen. And while they go ahead and get that set up, see if they want to go ahead and advance a little bit early, let's go ahead and take a look here at the race facts. this 1.3 mile concrete oval. Like I said, it's a very fast. We are located in Lebanon, in Tennessee. These guys are ready to duke it out for 125 laps around this speedway. Alrighty, we have just about 30 seconds before we get these drivers lined up down on the speedway to get this race underway. We would like to thank everybody so much for joining us here today as we get ready to take on this concrete speedway of Nashville Superspeedway for the Music City 125. I am really excited to get this thing underway. Alrighty. Session has went ahead and taken over as we have some of our drivers already on track. So let's go ahead and join them out on the speedway. And let's get this thing underway here, ladies and gentlemen. And let's go ahead and take a look at your starting lineup. Starting on the pole is Joe Usnikis in that number 89 machine. And the wicked fast Will Byers, he will be on the outside in that number 53 machine. Inside of row number 2, you have Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 machine, followed by Scott Milner in the number 31. Inside of row number 3, you have Dustin Harding in that number 81 Chevrolet. On his outside, you have Kyle Davidson in that number 6 Chevrolet. Inside of row number 4 is Freddie Donaway. And on his outside, rounding out our 8-car field, is going to be Richard Walls in the number 92 Ford Mustang. Something here I kind of like to do is I like to zoom in on our paint schemes here. And let's go ahead and jump up here to Joe in his Mango Loco Monster Ford Mustang. Will Byers in that number 53 Target Ford Mustang. Albert Reinhardt in his number 25 Red Bull Toyota. Scott Milner in his number 31 US Chevrolet, U.S. Army Chevrolet. Dustin Harding in his number 81 Kellogg's Chevrolet. Kyle Davidson in his number 6 Monster Energy Chevrolet. Freddie Donaway in his number 27 Dirty Mo Radio Chevrolet. And Richard Walls in his number 2 Aaron's Ford Mustang. And we are green flag racing here at Nashville, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Usnickus is out front, but Will Byers very strong on that outside as he's looking to overtake for that second or for that top spot. But here comes Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 Red Bull Toyota, trying to see what he can do to get onto Joe Usnickus's inside, but he's just not able to make it happen as they continue to run side by side there for that third spot. Will Byers and Dustin Harding as the 31 of Scott Milner's coming up right behind them. Still side by side for that third spot. Neither driver wanting to give way early on in this race as they come out of turn 4 only for the second time of this event. Continuing to run side by side. Freddie Donaway has issues in that number 27 machine. We're going to go ahead and go back here as they get single file for the moment. Freddie Donaway in that number 27 Dirty Mo. He just gets loose on exit and back it down. And it wasn't a too terrible hard hit to the outside wall. It should not cause him any issues at all. As we come back alive, let's come back up here as we have a battle for the race lead here. Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 Red Bull machine. He's now running side by side down the back straightaway with Joe Usnickus in that number 89 Loco number Monster Energy Ford Mustang. Joe Usnickus not giving up any time around that outside. So far he's making that outside work as they head down here into turn number 1. As these drivers now once again get themselves in single file formation. And here comes Dustin Harding. He's starting to put a little bit of pressure now here on Reinhardt as they come across the start finish line. File as they come around turns 3 and 4 back to this straightaway. Joe Usnickus, he's pulled out to just about a half a second lead over Reinhardt, and here comes Harding getting ready to attack here in turn number 1. He just got right onto the back of bumper of Reinhardt. It's only time will tell at this point when Harding may try to make that move in that number 81 Kellogg's Chevrolet, as he's getting a good run right here out of turn number 4, and he will look to the inside of Reinhardt. And Dustin Harding now side by side with Reinhardt, and he will go ahead and complete the pass. And now Will Byers, he's going to start making a move here on the number 25 possibly. down into the inside, and here comes that number 53 of Will Byers. He's looking to overtake for that third spot. And side by side as they come out of turn number 2, as they drag race down this back straightaway. They've made contact. The 25 is around. Hold on to it, Reinhardt, and safe. Albert Reinhardt kept it off that inside wall after making contact with Will Byers in that number 53 machine. As the yellow flag will wave. Let's go back, ladies and gentlemen, and see what happened as you guys saw it live. As they come out of turn 2, running side by side here. They just make contact and around she goes. So that was very unfortunate there. Alrighty, here they come through turns 3 and 4 now. Joe Usnickus says out front. He has led every lap so far today. Let's see what these drivers do. See if they're going to bring them down pit road. And here they come. Let's bring them down pit road here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make sure that these drivers don't miss their pit stalls, as that could change the whole dynamic of their race. And so far, everybody's in just fine. Oh, one driver had to pull backwards, and that looked like Scott Milner in that number 31 machine. As these drivers now start to pull away, it looks like only a couple of them have decided just to get fuel only. And here comes Dustin Harding in that number 81. He lost a couple spots there on pit road. We should see the lights off this time. Yep, there it is. Lights are off on the pace cars. We take a look at this crowd here at Nashville Superspeedway. Joe Usnickus has chosen the outside lane for this restart, so that will bring Richard Walls in that number 92 to his inside. And Will Byers will line up third here, and Kyle Davidson. Nope, scratch that. Scott Milner in that number 31 machine. He will be on the outside. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this once again. Pace car is off. It is in the hands of Joe Usnickas as he's laying back just a little bit here on this restart. And the green flag is out here as they now dive down into turn number 1. Joe Usnickas running 3 wide now for the race lead. Contact with the 92. He's able to keep it straight as they come down this back straightaway. But the 92, Richard Walls, he will fall all the way back after going 3 wide up front with Will Byers and Joe Usnickas. Will Byers now right on the back bumper of Joe Usnickas as they run side by side behind them for that 3rd spot. Will Byers on the attack now to Joe Usnickas, still unable to get the job done out of turn 2 as they continue to run side by side behind him between Scott Milner and Dustin Harding. This is a great battle right here for the 3rd spot, as it will look like Scott Milner, he will come out on top for the time being for 3rd spot. As you see here, the field running so many different lines here coming through these corners. Some are choosing to run right down on that yellow line, and Joe Usnickas, he's wanting to run just about 1.5 car lengths up off the bottom of that yellow line. So varying different line choosings here at Nashville. As you see, he goes way wide in here in turn number 1. But he is able to hold that momentum down the back straightaway. Dustin Harding in that number 81 Kellogg's machine, he's still trying to do everything he can to get around that number 31 of Milner. Really a good, amazing racing right now for these competitors. As Will Byers up in that 2nd spot, he's looking to possibly start making a move here on your race leader of Joe Usnickas. Again, none of these drivers really like pulling out away, and as of right now, we've got pretty much 3 distinctive races going on. You have Joe Usnickas and Will Byers for the race lead, Dustin Harding and Scott Milner for this 3rd place, and then Kyle Davidson and Albert Reinhardt running, trying to figure out the top 5. So we currently have like our own little 3 different race battles going on here, which is actually pretty awesome to see, as we see Will Byers looking to the inside of Usnickas as Usnickas runs way outside, and he uses that momentum around the outside to drag race his way back into the out front. Will Byers unable to make anything happen, but with that, with what they just did, that's going to bring Milner and company back to their back bumpers. A couple of these drivers getting loose out of turn 4 as they now dive back down into turn number 1. Usnickas decided not to go extremely wide again here in turns 1, and he will be able to pull out just a little bit further in front of Will Byers. As Dustin Harding, he's starting to make some noise behind Scott Milner for that 3rd spot. He had a good run out of turn 2 that last time by, so let's see what he can do this time. See if he can get himself around Scott Milner. He was not able to do anything this time around as they dive back down here into turn number 3. Big loose there by Scott Milner, and that's going to allow Dustin Harding to run up side by side now as they head down into turn 1, and that will put Harding right there into that 3rd spot. So that really big wobble out of turn 4 for Scott Milner will drop him back to that 4th spot. But he's not letting Harding get away from him just yet as they come out of turn number 4 back to the front straightaway. Alrighty, here they come out of turn number 4, ladies and gentlemen. It's still really good racing here. Here comes Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 Red Bull machine. He's starting to knock on the back bumper of Milner as he attacks to the inside here, coming through turns 1 and 2 to come down this back straightaway side by side. He's not able to make it clear, but here he comes. He's going to attack this time, and he's going to easily make himself get around the 31 machine as they exit turn number 4. But Milner has that good straightaway speed out of the exit. And let's see if he can get the job done. He does clear him here for the moment. And that will all she wrote here for Reinhardt as Reinhardt gets mega loose there out of turn 2. Now he sets his eye on Dustin Harding in that number 81 Kellogg's machine. Whoa, the 53 Will Byers is around. Hard impact at the start-finish line. Hard impact there for Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 machine. As he's going to try to attempt to bring this machine around, but he's not going to be able to. As he will just use the wall to help turn his machine. Yeah, Reinhardt, I think you're going to need a tow, my dude. I don't think you're going to do that. Yeah. But that was crazy. Let's come back here, take a look, see what happened. As he exited turn 4, he just ran a little too wide, hit the wall, spun out in front of the field, and nowhere to go. Let's come back here and right on board here with Reinhardt. See how fast everything happened here. He just stayed in it, and that is all she wrote there for Reinhardt. Hard impacts for a lot of these drivers. Scott Milner, Kyle Davidson, obviously Will Byers, he's down here. Freddie Donaway, Richard Walls, all these drivers came down to get fresh tires, while Joe Usnickas and Dustin Harding, they stayed out. This is a very interesting pit strategy here for these guys. Alrighty, lights are out now on our pace car, and they will go ahead and double up here once again. So it looks like Usnickas, he's going to decide to do the inside lane this time by Dustin Harding. Will choose the outside. Scott Milner and that number 31 will be on the inside, and Kyle Davidson will be on the outside of row number 2. And it does look like Freddie Dunaway, he's going to join the outside row here. Unfortunately, Albert Reinhardt, he is still back down on pit road. As we will come back, green flag racing right here, ladies and gentlemen, at Nashville Superspeedway. And the green flag is back out, ladies and gentlemen. Dustin Harding, he did not get a good restart that time, as it looked like he possibly missed a shift. As we fall back here to Scott Milner and company, as they are looking to go 3 wide out of turn 2. But Will Byers decided the best of it, as Davidson and Milner now run side by side for that 3rd spot. It's side by side still here on the front straightaway for this 3rd spot. Kyle Davidson, Scott Milner not wanting to give up any of this real estate. And here comes Will Byers. He's going to attack as Davidson goes way high. And that will put Scott Milner into that 3rd spot, followed by Will Byers. As they come now out of turn number 4. Dustin Harding in that number 81 Kellogg Chevrolet. He's looking to move on to the inside of Usnickus, and he's able to do it as they come out of turn 2 side by side. He just slipped up just a little bit there at turn 2, and unfortunately he was not able to stay side by side with Usnickus, and that will let Usnickus get to just about 5 car lengths, as we have Milner going through the grass here on the front straightaway. As you guys can see, a lot of these drivers having issues with looseness coming out of turn 4. So that's something that we're going to have to start watching now as this race progresses, as we still have 92 laps to go this time by. Harding now looking to get the run here on Usnickus on the front straightaway, as he will come side by side down here into turn number 1. Will Byers rockets down into turn number 1 to get back onto these guys' back bumper. And this time, Harding almost was able to keep him going. Usnickus just so strong in the middle of this track, and has that good run out of the corners. And here comes Will Byers now for that 2nd spot as they dive down here into turn number 1. He will go ahead and clear Harding for that 2nd spot, and now Will Byers will set his eyes on the number 89 machine. Top 4 all within half a second of each other. It's still anybody's race at this point, as here comes the 6th car of Davidson working on the inside of Harding. And Davidson, he will go ahead and make his way around the inside here and take over that 3rd spot. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Ringing my doorbell. But we are back. I am back. As you guys didn't miss any of the action out here for this front spot. Will Byers at number 53 still trying to get to the back bumper of the 89 of Joe Usnickas as they come out of turn number 4. As we have 84 laps remaining in this event. Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 machine. He has now rejoined us here on the racetrack. And here comes Will Byers trying to attack now on the inside of Joe Usnickas as he makes his way down onto the inside here and into turn number 1. Will Byers so strong getting into these corners as he will try to take over, but the crossover here by Usnickas as they now drag race down the back straightaway. Will Byers held just a little too much speed that time going through turns 3 and 4. As he now, Will Byers will attack on his inside now. As they will continue to try to battle it out here for your race lead here, ladies and gentlemen. Out of turn number 2, Usnickas once again with that strong run down the back straightaway out of the corners. Will Byers, he has to work out a whole new strategy now if he wants to try to find a way to get around Joe Usnickas for this race lead. As the things start to settle out across the field now. We did have Richard Walls in that number 92 machine go off track. Let's go back and take a look here and see what happened. Once again, that turn 4 slickness got the best of him as he was able to come back out on track, catch a gear. Rejoin Richard Walls and Scott Milner. This battle here for the 5th spot is starting to work themselves out. And Joe Usnickas, he has come down pit lane, so that will turn the race lead over to Will Byers, number 53. As we're going to stay right here on this battle here for now the 4th spot. Scott Milner in that number 31 U.S. Army Chevrolet. He's doing pretty decent here. As Dustin Harding, he's now going to make his way down pit road. Will Byers in that number 53 machine is doing a phenomenal job so far. He has just about a 2-second lead over Kyle Davidson in that number 6 machine. Davidson's not really allowing him to pull away much either. As that time through turns 1 and 2, Davidson was actually able to gain a little bit of time there on your race leader. This time, Kyle Davidson, he was able to pull up a little bit closer this last lap. He gained just about a tenth, maybe 0.2 of a second this lap. So Davidson, he is slowly but surely trying to reel in your race leader, as we currently have a battle brewing now between Scott Milner and Richard Walls. Oh, that's lap down car of Albert Reinhardt directly in front of them. So right now, Scott Milner, he is slowly trying to put some distance between himself and Richard Walls. As you see, Usnickus making a big move there onto the inside of Walls back there. As Usnickus is trying to march his way back towards the front to get one of his laps back, as he had a pit for fuel and tires because he didn't come down when everybody else did. Richard Walls, he had a big moment just now at turn 4. And he allowed himself to jump a little bit sideways there. take a look here at Kyle Davidson in that number 6 Mustard Energy machine. He's brought the gap from just about 2 seconds down to 1.2 seconds. So he is slowly but surely starting to reel in buyers still. And so we may have another battle for the lead brewing here in maybe just about 10 more laps if he keeps it up the way he's going now. The gap is now 1 second, but that time Davidson kind of slipped up there just a little bit in turns 1 and 2, so that's going to allow buyers to pull away just a little bit, but not enough to make a huge difference, as we have 63 laps to go, and we are now just about halfway in this event, as these drivers now come through turns 1 and 2. Joe Usnickus in that number 89 machine. He is still working his way up through this field, as Will Byers, he will come down pit road now for his for fuel and tires. Apparently my brain is a little bit sleeping today. I do apologize. Yeah, Will Byers down on pit road getting some fuel and general tires on his machine. As you see, Usnickus there. Let's come back here as Freddie Donaway, he was also down here on pit road. This isn't for a position, but this is still a pretty cool battle here to see. Joe Usnickus on the inside of Albert Reinhardt in that number 25 Red Bull machine. Still running side by side here. Now, Usnickus doesn't really want to burn up his equipment now, as he's going to be on much older tires than the rest of the field, as he slips up into the 25 as they continue to run side by side down the back straightaway. Again, this is not for position, ladies and gentlemen. Under that last caution, Albert Reinhardt hit the wall, or hit into the side of a spinning Will Byers, I believe it was. And so he is multiple laps down, but the way he is running, these drivers are running like as if it is for position, and this is something we absolutely love to see, no matter what, what the circumstances are. This is still just amazing racing here, as Joe Usnickus, this next time by, he will pick up the race lead from Richard Walls. Still side by side here. So ultimately, Usnickus is trying to put Reinhardt another lap down, but he is just unable to get away from him, as Usnickus will overtake for that next the race lead, and that will put him 4.8 seconds in front of Will Byers. Usnickus finally able to get around that number 25 of Albert Reinhardt, so he is going to start marching his way further away from Reinhardt and Will Byers. you see Richard Walls now re-entering the speedway. He will fall one lap back to your race leader, Yusnikas. Richard Walls is now getting heat into those tires as his lap times are now starting to pick up just a little bit here as he's going to try to work his way around Reinhardt in that number 25 machine so he can try to fight to come and get his lap back. Scott Milner and Dustin Harding here running for this 4th spot. Look like Scott Milner just passed Dustin Harding. As you guys saw, Will Byers finally able to get around that number 27 of Freddie Donaway. And as of right now, Julius Nichols has pulled out to just about a 4-second lead on Byers. So this is a huge improvement from recent weeks here for Julius Nichols in that number 89 machine. He has struggled just a little bit the last couple races, but he's now turned it around and he has led majority of the race. This battle here, just remember, this is not for position, but it's always a lot of fun to watch lap down cars duke it out with the race leaders. This is actually fun to watch here. Richard Walls and that number 92 duking it out here with Scott Milner in the number 31 Kellogg's machine. Joe Usnickus is now back down here on pit road to get service for his machine. Alright, and it looks like Dustin Harding, he's now going to come down pit road to get service on his number 81 Kellogg's Frosted Flakes Chevrolet. Will Byers in that number 53 Target Ford Mustang, he's currently out front of this field as he dives back down into turn number 1. He's got just about a 9-second lead on Kyle Davidson. You know, this is something I haven't really touched up on, is this speedway itself. Again, it is a concrete track. Not many raceways or speedways, you know, are built with concrete. As you see, Byers here going to go ahead and put Dustin Harding 2 laps back now. It's very, rare to find a concrete speedway. And concrete speedways, they tend to produce good racing that we have been seeing most of the day today. But one of the hardest things to battle concrete is with your tires. Concrete, they do eat up at your tires a lot quicker than other speedways. You know, given, a freshly paved, I'm sorry, a very old surface will definitely eat away at the tires because of all the cracks and the characteristics of old asphalt. But with concrete, it may look a lot smoother, but because of how smooth it is, these cars are going to go faster, and meaning you're going to go faster in the corners. However, it's going to eat away at the tires. So that is something these, competitors are dealing with here today as well. Give me just a moment here. Like Dustin Harding had a low hit of radio issues there. On my end, it showed that he jumped to pits, but I was like, wait a second, I know he came down pit road. I didn't know that. Usually when it says they jumped to pits, it usually means they towed. That's why I went back and took a look at Dustin Harding. But he's all good, he's good to go. No harm, no foul with that number 81 Chevrolet. And here comes your race leader, Will Byers. He's now going to come back down pit road. As you saw Joe Usnickus begin to get his lap back. And Scott Milner in that number 31 U.S. Army Chevrolet. He will take over your race lead now. And he will lead this one lap so far. As he will come out of turn. As he will come out of turn 4 down the front straightaway. He will win his second lap. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not mistaken, I think every driver except 1 or 2 has led a lap. Let's go ahead and just run through here, see who all has led laps. Myers has, Richard Wall, he's led 6 laps. Dustin Harding, he has not led a lap. Freddie Donaway has not, and Albert Reinhardt has not. So 3 of the 8 drivers have not led a lap. So that means more than half of your field has led at least 1 lap here today, as we catch back up here with the 31 of Scott Milner in the U.S. Army Chevrolet. He will need to come down pit road here at some point. I believe what should be his final pit stop. So we just have to wait and see when that is going to happen. That's Kyle Davidson right behind him in that number 6 Monster Energy Chevrolet. So he's slowly been reeling in Scott Milner here. And now it's turned into a battle for the race lead. As we just now have 27 laps remaining, 26 this time by. And here comes Scott Milner, and that will turn over race lead over here to Kyle Davidson in that number 6 machine. I anticipate for Davidson to come down pit road probably within the next 2 to 3 laps if these drivers keep at about how they have been coming in, you'll see Davidson down on pit road. Like I said, here within probably the next lap or two. Yes. He does not get a good run out of turn for that time of high. And here comes Will Byers just muscling around, getting his lap back. Kyle Davidson way out front. He's got probably more than half a lap lead, but here he comes down. Whoa it down there, Kyle. Whoa it down. All right, he's able to bring it down pit road with no harm, no foul, and that will turn your race lead back over to Joe Usnickas in that number 89 Loco Monster Juice Ford Mustang. And with that being said, he now has a 11-second lead on Will Byers in that number 53 Ford Mustang. This is a really good, strong run here for Joe Usnickas in that number 89 machine, as we have just 24 laps to go now. Freddie Dunaway in the number 27 Dirty Mo Chevrolet. He's back down on pit road to get service on his machine. The gap is now down to 9.5 seconds between Usnickas and Will Byers. Kind of sounded like for a second that Usnickas was clutching there. Let's go ahead and ride on board and see if that's the case. He is in fact clutching, getting into these corners. So that means he is unsure if he can make it. Now let's ride on board here with Will Byers in that number 53 machine. So as you hear the big difference here, your race leader, Joe Usnickas, is clutching, so that's going to make a big difference here. Richard Walls had some issues here coming out of turn number 2. Let's see what happened here. He was trying to get down pit road as he looped it a little bit. Whee! Hold on to it, Richard. What an incredible save there, buddy. $17 laps to go. Joe has to try to save if he wants to make it to the end of this race and with the race win, but he doesn't want to give up too much time clutching, as Will Byers is now just about 7.8 seconds behind. gap now down to just about 7.3 seconds. Joe Yusnik is still trying to save fuel to get to the end of this race. So this is going to be very interesting to see if he can get there. As you can hear him clutching. The one who pitted closest to Joe is Dustin Harding in that number 81 machine. Let's run on board, see if he happens to be clutching as well. Dustin Harding, I guess he believes he can make it the rest of the way. As we now ride on board here once again with Joe Yusnikas in that number 89 machine. He's got to the wall there just a little bit. 7 seconds now separates Will Byers and Joe Yusnikas. Six and a half seconds separate your two race leaders. Joe Yusnikas still trying to save enough fuel to get to the end of this race as we only have 9 laps to go. .3 seconds now separates your top two. .6 seconds now separates your two race leaders. Well, now down to 5.7 seconds. A big gain there by Will Byers this time by. He gained probably just about a quarter of a second there and then lost it. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is your separation between first and second. It is now 5 seconds as Joe Usnickas will get the 4 laps to go. Will he be able to save enough to make it to the end? He is trying everything he can to save as much fuel as he can. 3 laps to go this time. Joe Usnickas has led 84 laps. If he can keep it up, he will have led 87 of the 125 laps today. Two laps now for Joe Usnickas. And now the gap is down to 4 seconds. 3.7 seconds. And still losing. Down to 3.5 seconds. Will Joe Usnickas have enough to make it another 1.1 miles? That's going to be the question. 3 seconds. 2.5. White flag. Joe Usnickas is out of fuel. That is such a heartbreak, and that will turn the race over to Will Byers in that number 53 Target Ford Mustang. Joe Usnickas is out of fuel on the back straightaway. He will lose third place or second place. Checkered flag is in the air. Your race winner here at Nashville Superspeedway, Will Byers. Scott Milner, he will bring it home. Second, Kyle Davidson, he will sneak it home third. Dustin Harding will come home fourth in that number 81 Kellogg's. And Joe Usnickas, you're almost there, buddy. Come on, Joe. You got this. Joe. Oh, and what a good sport by your... Oh, gosh. Huge contact. Wow. That was a massive hit. Let's go see that again. That was awesome, actually. And we're going to focus here on Albert Reinhardt. Was that Albert? I don't think that was Albert. Yeah, oh, yeah, I believe that was. So we'll focus here on Will Byers as he's getting ready to give Usnickas a little bump here to the start-finish line. And here comes, yep, that was the 25 of Albert. And then the 27 had nowhere to go. What an incredible finish here today at Nashville Superspeedway. Let's go ahead and take it back high above the track. And let's also take a look at your finishing order right here. Show me buttons. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here at your race results, ladies and gentlemen. Your race winner, Will Byers, in the number 53 Ford Mustang. Scott Milner in the number 31 Chevrolet will bring it home second. Good strong finish for Milner. Kyle Davidson up in the third spot in his number 6 machine. That was an incredible finish for him. Dustin Harding in the number 81 machine will bring it home fourth. And a heartbroken Joe Usnikis, who happened to lead so many laps, 80 plus laps of the day, just to run out of fuel on the final lap. And that will bring him down to the 5th spot. Richard Walls in the number 92 will bring it home 6th. Freddie Donaway will bring it home 7th. And Albert Reinhardt will bring it home in the 8th spot in his number 25 machine. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us today right here on the iCast Racing Network, powered by iRacing. I want to thank everybody so much for joining, and a special shout out to SDK Gaming to give us these amazing overlays that you saw today. Big shout out to Sim Racers Hub. Sim Racers Hub, everything you need for all your statistics needs here on iRacing. Definitely go and check them out if you have not a clue what I'm talking about. Go check them out if you will. And on behalf of the Next Level Gaming Community ARCA series, I am Mike Taylor right here on the iCast Racing Network. And we will see you next week. Same time, same place. And as you know, happy time zones.
This has been a production of the iCast Racing Network powered by iRacing. Thank you for your continued support. Don't forget to like and subscribe for notifications for all of our live events right here on YouTube and Twitch. We would like to thank SDK Gaming for their production overlays that makes this event enjoyable. Until next time, happy time zones.